Trigger warning. I will not rate this poem. I.e., I will not force this poem into involuntary positions for my own self-gratification. See, I used to stay up at night, stalking poems, trying to pin them down and take from them what they were not willing or ready to give. But this poem has a right to say no. This poem is not helpless, i.e., this poem is taking self-defense classes, just in case 5 random judges try to rob it of its value by hitting it over the head with low scores. This poem will not wear its assigned gender role, i.e., this poem is not ladylike, it is not Stepford Wife. It will not welcome you into his home for a warm meal. It may not always make you feel safe. This poem may not always be made up and coiffed to perfection. However, its hair may resemble tangled scribbles across a page. Its ink-smeared lips may slur curse words and dirty jokes instead of sweet metaphors into your ear. This poem has run-on sentences in its pantyhose. This poem may just smack you on the ass and then demand that you write down your phone number on the fucking scoreboard. I repeat, this poem will not wear its assigned gender role, i.e., although this poem is female, that doesn't mean that it's not capable of taking physical advantage of male poems. In the same breath, that also doesn't mean that this poem is not capable of killing this stage. This poem will not stay in its place, i.e., this poem is going second, but it will not walk 10 steps behind your poem. This poem will not speak only when spoken to, because this poem says whatever the fuck it wants, whenever the fuck it wants. This poem will not walk with its head held down, because this poem has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. This poem is a misfit. Yeah, this poem is a misfit, i.e., this poem is not concerned with becoming one of the cool poems. It may or may not fit your literary criteria, i.e., this poem may not be featured on WANPoetry, and this poem is absolutely okay with that. Because buttons usually close things up, and this poem is wide fucking open. This poem is a whore, i.e., anyone could get it. This poem is not what's trending. This poem is not what's trending, i.e., this poem will not comb headlines, Facebook posts, nor Twitter feeds for its next fashion statement. This poem is not a current event. It is not a hashtag, #. This poem just is. This poem is not a feminist, i.e., this poem does not sing the praises of Annie DeFranco nor Beyonce. However, it does belt a deep, raspy ode to Harriet Tubman, Angela Davis, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Assata Shakur. I repeat, this poem is woman, black woman to be exact. Therefore, this poem is aware that our poem struggles are not quite the same. This poem is not a racist. Your poem is. I.e., this poem sees the way your poem looks at it when it walks into an open mic, and how yours clutches all of its slam titles and accolades when it has to share a stage with it. This poem loves black poems, but it also has white poem friends, so it can't possibly be racist. This poem doesn't have the power to oppress your poem, because whether you acknowledge it or not, the mere fact of who your poem's author is, it already came into this world with male, slam privilege. This poem is not politically correct, i.e., this poem would rather go out in a blaze. See, the last time this poem was cautious about what it had to say, it still didn't win the fucking slam anyway.